Hello, fellow Stoughtonites. Here we are in the final days leading up to a revote election on April 8th for a new South school debt exclusion, as well as voting for leaders who stay true to protecting you and your family. The no vote is a plan to protect the taxpayers and get a new economically priced school for our children. The decision is, are we going to have an outrageously priced Taj Mahal school in the woods, or are we going to have an economically priced school giving us a net increase in classrooms without having to shut down the Wilkins, without budget cuts, and without a debt exclusion? The no-vote taxpayers will continue to fight for hard-working families, our children, and our seniors. We are here to protect all of you against bad, overpriced decisions. A lot of decisions will need to be made after the April 8th election, no matter the results. The current minority leadership is not representing the majority of taxpayers. The majority of taxpayers do not want higher taxes. Current leadership has been determined to ignore you, the taxpayer. Trust. Town decisions affect taxpayers. You deserve respect for your hard-earned dollars. Stoughtonites are now rightly skeptical of leadership, the majority of current town meeting reps, and the go-along to get along citizens on committees who are not properly vetting or looking out for hard-working families and seniors alike. Our tax dollars need to be used wisely. Taxpayers see no plan to avoid debt exclusions and have not seen proper due diligence on projects already approved. Our committees are operating in a vacuum without comprehensive policies set by the Select Board to protect the taxpayers, leaving you exposed to overspending, lack of due diligence, and completely unnecessary debt exclusions. Examples of overspending and lack of due diligence. We've had the fire station on Central Street had HVAC issues because a previous town manager allowed a clerk of the works who did not provide due diligence. There were HVAC issues here and at the police station on Rose Street. The high school auditorium's curtain and lights needs fixing at a suggested cost of $441,000 and was going to be presented for repair at this ridiculous cost until there was pushback from concerned citizens. This past February, town meeting approved replacement of telephones at the new high school. No one, either the project manager or town employees, made sure these problems were fixed within the warranty period. Again, leaving the taxpayers holding the bag. The recently built police station needs a major capital addition before its time. There was a suggestion for a South School vestibule at a cost of $600,000, all while talking about closing the school. We spent millions on converting the Jones School, and now they want to throw that money down the drain. There is no money tree to pay for universal preschool. The new fire station vehicles have blown tires on the granite curbs as though it wasn't a predicted concern. There is discussion of a potential project to improve the intersection at Prospect and Park Street, as though this wasn't a predicted concern. Look, it's time the Select Board appoint balanced committees who will listen and take heed of potential issues at the initial stages of a project and not after the fact, having to come up with ideas to backfill all the missing elements. These examples reflect a complete lack of due diligence on behalf of the taxpayers. Committees need to produce comprehensive project plans, not just building plans, with budget guidelines from the Select Board, along with considering a combined capital plan as a roadmap for the whole town. No project, budget, or article should be voted on in a bubble. Stoughton taxpayers have been asked to do this time and time again. This must not continue. It is unacceptable. You deserve better. Let's start connecting some dots to paint a complete picture. Let's start working together for the benefit of all. Listen, we have heard changing stories and amounts with false promises and resolutions. The changing elements, amounts, false promises, and resolutions are an attempt to hoodwink you, the taxpayers, into a bad decision. Promises are not contracts. Resolutions and false words are not guarantees. Just look at the fire station that stuck us with $27 million of debt instead of the promised $20 million. Just look to Route 139 toward Randolph. The road is still sinking after being closed for 2 years. Now, with regard to the South School, the project is the same project voted on last June. There is still only one fully functioning entrance into the property and requires a bridge from Park Street into the property in the woods. Dr. Bayetta, our superintendent, stated at the June 12th school committee meeting, Fano Drive is not realistic to acquire due to the massive additional cost. Can you imagine the backups on Park Street? There is still a majestic dynasty-like staircase inside the building wasting valuable space. There is still the need for extensive and exorbitantly priced site work. The debt exclusion is a de facto override. The debt is proposed at 30 years, not the 20 years like the high school. This adds millions more to the project, which could prevent or limit debt exclusions for other future capital projects. The pinwheel design is still exorbitantly priced. The project does not include the teardown of either the South or the Jones School. This debt exclusion is still completely unnecessary. It can be paid for with all the newfound money our leaders keep announcing, without any budget cuts. This newfound money is coming from the Logistics Park project on Turnpike Street in the money grab of 50% of completions on new construction projects recently passed at town meeting. This represents year-over-year growth. It's time our new growth monies benefit you, the taxpayer. Say no to a debt exclusion. The tax and spenders must be brought to heel. The suggestion that it is this exorbitantly priced Taj Mahal design or modular as the only two choices does not even pass the smell test. Basic discernment and common sense must prevail. The presentation of only two choices by the yes pusher is another example of leadership trying to scare parents and taxpayers into a bad decision. Each consumer knows there is a top of the line price, a middle of the road price, and an economical price. We were all born, just not yesterday. Again, basic discernment and common sense must prevail. It's in the best interest of the vendors to over-design. It is in the best interest of those trying to make Stoughton a city instead of keeping Stoughton a humble working-class suburban town. The Taj Mahal is not in the best interest of taxpayers. Your no vote demands our leaders start protecting you, the taxpayers, and our children at the same time. You may have heard various suggestions of what could happen. However, suggestions not voted on by town meeting are a completely unreliable basis for taxpayers to approve a $114 million project. The debt exclusion has no amount attached to it and holds taxpayers responsible for whatever the cost becomes. Listen, There is no bank account at the State House with money in it for Stoughton. There is no guarantee of MSBA funds for Stoughton until a contract is signed. Any suggestion otherwise is a false promise. A contract will not be signed unless this outrageous debt exclusion is approved by town-wide vote. It failed in June for very good reasons. A potential sale of the South School in Jones could take years with no existing plan or guarantee to reduce taxpayer burden. Just look how long the hole in Stoughton Center existed. The Armory and the train depot. All talk, no action for years. The independent working group was anything but independent or transparent. They were hand-picked and spoon-fed info from the school and building committee. They held meetings at 5:30 when hard-working families could not attend and would not allow in the SMAC cameras where these hard-working families would have been able to witness the rubber stamping of the project. This prolonged exercise is another example of the smoke and mirror games played by the Select Board to avoid a direct appearance of ignoring the will of the taxpayers who voted no. We see through these games. Here we have a video of Joe McCrisky.
A lot about how we spend our money. I've heard frivolous, out of control, irresponsible. And what residents of the town have to realize is the Select Board don't spend money. We request a budget. It goes through town meeting. It is duly vetted by the Finance Committee, who are the members of the community, members of town meeting, who go through every line item, every detail, and every expense. So if anybody wants to change how we do that, that has to be done with the legislative branch, being town meeting and the Finance Committee. I've heard proposals on diversion of funds to go to someplace. Again, state law prohibits that. One of the opponents has been told that twice by legal counsel that it's illegal. If we want to do it, there's probably a process to do that. I'm open to something like that if it's done in accordance with the law, not just shooting from the hip and saying, let's do it now.
Okay. Here we have a current Select Board member, Joe McCrisky, up for re-election, absolving him of any responsibility on approving an exploding budget every year. He suggests the budget is duly vetted, blames the Finance Committee and town meeting representatives. This lack of taking responsibility must not continue. The tax and spend committees must not continue. I can assure you, as a member of the Finance Committee, I personally do not feel the budget was duly vetted. We are not allowed to ask the proper questions that would protect you, the taxpayer. As a Select Board member, they at any time could put in an article to be voted on at town meeting that would protect the taxpayer against a debt exclusion, okay? I don't buy this. Okay, now we're gonna have clip 2 of video of a Select Board candidate, Robert Kirby.
Thank you again, Roberta, for hosting this forum. I think that in the case that I would be elected to the Select Board, what I would like to do is advocate for the taxpayers. I don't think that the taxpayers are first and foremost at the thought of every policy that decision that is being made, and they need a voice here. For too long, there's been a lack of confidence in the administration at every level in our town. There's been decades of scandals, corruption, different problems. People are tired of that. They're looking for a change. I have no history and no baggage with any of that, so I come with a fresh slate, fresh ideas. I want to see the budget planned for the next generation. I want to change the way things are budgeted so that the taxpayer is first. That's the bottom line. I want to bring my character, which is integrable. I listen to everyone on every side of every issue. I'm fair-minded. I know that the school has been a very contentious debate here in Stoughton. There's people that are emotionally charged up on both sides of it. Whatever comes of this election, whether the town goes for it or votes no again, I think we're going to need someone that's going to advocate for funding it within our budget and not just defaulting to a Prop 2.5 override. And also, if it doesn't pass, and a lot of people are concerned about the modulars and the other things, again, we need an advocate that's going to say, no, let's regroup, let's build the South School that is affordable. We don't have to give up the idea just because this particular proposal wasn't accepted.
Here we have Robert Kirby, a longtime Salt of the Earth Stoughton resident, who will keep taxpayers and children alike at the forefront of the budget process. The vote no position has remained consistent as the project has not changed. It is the yes pushes that has tied themselves up in knots, making false promises, putting forth unsubstantiated calculators, and generating a completely spoon-fed, biased working group report, leaving out the no vote solution. We must build an economically priced new school within the budget without budget cuts or an override. The project has not changed. The ever more changing numbers and resolutions by the yes pushes is an attempt to hoodwink you. Say no, don't be fooled, say no to fair tactics and bad decisions. Say yes to discernment and basic common sense. Vote no on the ballot question on April 8th for the children and taxpayers alike. Tune into News of Stoughton on Facebook for more information. Thank you for watching Lioness You on The Watch. See you next time.